What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. We just came back from the paint shop and we got a lot of items towards painting the CRX. Now this this was a little more expensive than I had thought, and I still haven't gotten the clear coat. The reason why I didn't buy the clear coat today is because I'm gonna go back tomorrow when they get their shipment of medium hardener for the clear coat. They had slow, and the weather seems to be a little gloomy today, and it is going to be gloomy the rest of the week. So I don't want these slow activator hardener, and I don't want to cause a lot of runs and causing it to not dry in this weather. So I'm gonna go back tomorrow. We have 2 quarts of polar white. I didn't realize this car is polar white, but it makes sense because this car is an 88 polar white. And I got 2 quarts because mixing this 1-to-1 ratio will give me a whole freaking gallon of paint, and this is a really small car, so we don't need a lot of paint. We got mixing cups, we got high build primer. You can tell how heavy this thing is right here. High build primer. We got some stick it sandpaper, which I've been needing, so this right here is going to be for blocking the door down with my Durablocks. I got trim paint finally for all the trims on the car that we took off last week, and there's still more to it. Right there, the total bill cost was like, let me see here, the first one is $203 and the second one is $139. So with the clear coat, we're gonna be, I don't know, somewhere in the 500 or so, but hopefully we can give this car a really nice paint job coming from the driveway. Today what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to fix this giant dent right here you can see on the door, right? So what had happened with this is the door molding folded into the fender, and then it kind of, I guess, pulled back and caused a dent right there. This affected a dent it's like right here, barely. So hopefully what I'm thinking is that when this comes back out, this would kind of pull itself straight to kind of get this to go down a little bit. But we're going to be working on this and a little small section right there, because that's the only major dent in the whole car. Everything else is just pits. They're just small little pits. And oh yeah, we got to work on this side a little bit too. We got to reshape this because somebody put a flathead in there and pried it, and it's kind of leaning inward and it doesn't sit flush with the door handle, so we got to situate that. But aside from those, I think everything else on the car is ready to go. Oh, and I need to buy sealer too, because I want to make this car one color, but I think the gray is light enough that the white would blend it easy. The thing about the Valspar is it's less transparent than the other brand paints, so Valspar should cover really nicely over the gray. I don't know if I want to seal the whole car, because I don't think white would have an issue sealing over the really light gray marks, but we'll see when we get into it. Right now I'm gonna see how I'm gonna go about fixing this dent. I'm removing the speaker because, oh dang, has a big old bar right there. Oh shit, I just popped it out. What the fork? Wow. Okay, well, I guess I didn't. That's awesome. So now we have, it's a low spot right here. Not worried about under the molding, but it's a low spot right here, and it's a low spot right there. This guy has a low spot right here, but it's definitely better than the giant dent. So that was a lot easier than I had anticipated. Whatever that dent that was right here, that was like a high spot, it's not there anymore. We're definitely still going to block that out, because I finally got some stick it rolls right here. I got 80 and 120 for my Durablocks, and I do have guide coat as well. This is still going to need obviously some body filler, but I'm trying to fill it out. I literally slept at like 5:30 this morning. I was watching Paint Society, a lot of his how-to videos, and a lot of like learn auto body and paint. I've been watching him, Tony, for a very long time, and I was just trying to refresh my memory on how to do body work. You can tell where the high spots are at because it's darker here. I use the DA, which is pretty flat, and normally when you cut down a section further than the rest of the body, you're hitting a high spot, which the DA, the flat part of the DA, was hitting a lot more before touching the lower side of the high spot. Feels a lot better. For body filler, guys, I've always used Rage, Evercoat Rage, and the one before this I've always used a Rage Extreme, really lightweight body filler. Cuts the you know, sanding time because of how light it is. The hardener, you can feel like just, I don't know, like liquid inside of it. What I do is I kind of release all the air out of here, right, until it leaks a little bit, close it back up, and then mix it all up again. So that way you're not pouring a ton of liquid, instead you get the cream. Now you have to read the instructions to know how much cream hardener you apply to the amount of body filler you have here. I've done it so much that I guess you can say already know, but I'm gonna add a little bit more just in case because it's cold. Kind of want this to, you know, harden up a lot quicker. Now it's important to have a really nice spreader, so that way you can apply the filler as smooth as possible. You want to lay this down as smooth as possible to avoid having to sit there and sand hard edges for a very long time. So I'm gonna go ahead and just mix this up. I'm gonna work on the big dent first because of, you know, depending on how fast this filler hardens, and then we'll worry about the small ones later. So again, lay it as flat as possible. Right here on the quarter panel, it's not much. Let me ask you guys this: if you guys do body work, or at least for yourself at home, or if you work in a body shop, what is your guys' favorite filler to use? I've always used Evercoat Rage, Rage Extreme, Rage Gold, the regular Rage, I guess, and it seems to work really well for me. But I'm open to other things. Obviously bodywork is going to be something I'm going to do in future projects and stuff like that, and maybe I want to try something new. But leave a comment down below, let me know what you guys' favorite filler is. It's 5:38, super dark. It's just kind of what we have to deal with. So right here, the GoPro doesn't really have like autofocus or anything like that, or I think it does. Let me see. No, it has exposure. So I don't know if you guys can see it. There's a lot of like small little pittings here and there, and in the last video I talked about some part of the car with the Earlshire paint. It was kind of cracked, like the sun, you know, kind of baked on it and cracked it over time, and these are the little cracks that I'm talking about. I don't know if you guys can see that, all these little guys right here. And before the Earlshire, it seems like the car had been painted a different white, which is this guy right here, and you can see like they body worked over, I guess, where the paint was peeling back, and I can feel literally all these little jagged edges. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand this down, not all the way because it's been repaired before, but I'm going to sand it down, and I'm going to do a light glaze filler over this, so it's not a lot of filler to, you know, fill in a huge dent, but just enough to kind of shape it back. And then, you know, the high build primer stuff will help me block it down smoother. But I'm noticing down here as well too, of these two little cracks, one right there and one right here. And what I'm going to do with these is I'm probably going to sand this down as well too, and I'm just going to like crater it, like trench it, and then fill it with filler. I'm probably going to have to remove the bumper so we don't like kind of fill up the bumper with filler and extra work we don't have to do, and just kind of get underneath. When it's all nice and dry, we can sand underneath and all that. So I'm going to repair this corner, these corners. I'm going to hit this with the 80 to kind of chop it really quickly so I'm not sitting there digging into it. This will also leave some like sand scratches, so that way the new filler can just kind of bite into it. Okay guys, so I'm using my DuraBlock sanding blocks, and this is great for blocking flat surfaces, hood, doors, roof, whatever. I have this 24-inch, I have these in 12s, and I have them in I think 4s, but these are the stick it type, where the sandpaper that goes on has a sticky backside, and you just pretty much measure the length, cut it, stick it right on it, and you're ready to go. So I bought 80 grit, I believe it's this one right here, to cut down filler, and then I bought 120 to smooth out the filler, and that's why I have two blocks right here. I'm going to do 80 and 120. Now I would normally use guide coat, but I don't know where my guide coat can is at, so I'm just going to spray some black over the body filler, so that way it helps guide me what I'm sanding. And if there are any low spots, we'll know where it's at, because a low spot is a crater, and the flat part of the sanding block won't get into that crater, obviously, because it's flat. That tells me that area needs to be repaired still. Now Paint Society kind of talked about actual guide coat versus spray can. Spray can doesn't have the property or whatever, I don't remember, but he said that spray can will cake up your sandpaper a lot more than the actual guide coat, which I have, like I said, I just don't know where it's at. So I'm let that kind of settle on there for a minute or two, and we'll get to sanding. Man, I forgot how tiring this thing is. I was literally laying on the floor just to get comfortable. But this right here seems to be really nice and flat now. We're gonna primer this with 2K, and 2K is supposed to go over body filler and scratches and stuff like that. Here's a low spot for you guys. Right there, where the black dot is, and this one right here, that's where the paint got into and the block did not reach. That means it is caved in. We need to repair this. So a small little glaze over this and that, we can sand it out, it'll clear it up. But the silver part right here, I'd be lying to you guys if I said that this was ready for paint. It's not. The silver means that the sanding block touched it mostly there, where it turned silver, the bare metal, before touching the body filler and the paint. This is a high spot. I can actually feel it with my hand. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna tap it down with a hammer as a smidge, right? Put filler over that, here, let that dry, and we'll probably carry this on until tomorrow. So we have the quarter sanded down right here, nice and flat, nice and smooth. And then I kind of went over some of the areas where I primed just to get it all nice and flat. I mean, this is going to be sanded down once again before if we do the sealer or before the base coat. We're going to end it with like a 400 grit. Right now the whole car is scuffed down with 150. And again, we got the door all sanded nice and flat, or at least to the feel. When we put the primer on, the 2K primer, we'll definitely see more. We got the fender, the front half of the fender. I sanded some of the small pits I filled in yesterday, and they're nice and smooth now, but I am going to lay 2K primer over this whole section right here as well too. This was previously repaired, and there's a lot of small pinholes I didn't see yesterday, but I primed this to keep it from the rain, and then I just sanded down a minute ago. A lot of the pits kind of disappeared, but I am using 1K out of a can, so when I do the 2K primer, hopefully it fills it up a little bit more. But before we get into the primer, I'm going to fix this door handle section. This right here was pried over from some people who were trying to get into the car God knows when, and I got a wire wheel pretty much all of this rust off right here, stick the door handle back on, see how much this has to come out, and then we'll repair that accordingly. You can see right here on the edges where it's bare metal, and I didn't primer this because I knew I was going to repair it, but you can see within a day or two we already got a ton of surface rust. So I'm going to take care of all that when we get to, you know, priming all this. But right now my main concern is all of the rust that's on the inside right here as well. I need to sand all of that off. So just a simple wire wheel, Harbor Freight one. This thing is gnarly. Guys, sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles. It is nightfall once again. I have my buddy Kel over here. He came to pick up some materials for a job he's doing, and we kind of just shoot the shit a little bit. So we have this door all sanded down, second filler. We had it all masked off a little bit here, and then we sanded the portion of the hood right here that had repair work a little bit. I did some spot putty right here, a little bit right there. These guys are all masked off. This is masked off, and we're about ready to shoot some primer in this really cold weather. I'm gonna get right to it. I'm gonna use some high-tech 2K primer. This stuff right here is what they had in stock, and again, you can really feel the weight of this guy. High build 2K primer is really heavy primer for bodywork, for blocking and stuff like that. This is the primer activator, and it calls for a 4-1 mix. 4 parts primer to 1 part high solids primer activator. 35 to 45 psi for non-HVLP gun with a 1.7 to 2.2 fluid nozzle, and 8 to 10 psi at the cap for HVLP equipment with a 1.7 2.2. I don't know what nozzle the Harbor Freight gun comes with, but it is definitely bigger than the other gun that I have. I'm going to use this for primer. Hopefully it shoots out well, because primer 2K is kind of thick, but we're going to go ahead and shake this up really nicely. You want to get this completely mixed up, and then we'll do the 4-part to 1. I believe it's this guy right there. If you guys don't have one of them shakers, paint mixer things, you want to make sure you use a stir stick to get all of the solvent at the bottom mixed into all of the liquid here in the primer. Once you stick the stick in here, you can really feel how thick it is at the bottom. So right now it seems to be mixed up really nicely, and man, this is some really thick stuff. Keyword here is thick, because 2K high build primer. %, I'm gonna make a huge mess. So 4 to 1. So what I'm gonna do here is, I don't know what that middle number is, but I am going to go 4-part primer to 1 part activator. I'm probably not going to use a lot of primer. I'm going to go primer up to probably going to go up to the 4, and then 1 part activator. So I'm going to go back to this last number 1 and then go to the 4 on that one. 4-part primer, 1 part activator. No, I'm going to go to the 3. This seems like a lot of paint. 3 right there. I feel like this thing right here is kind of small to match 4 to 1 in this guy. Why did they give me a small one? 4-part. What the fork is that? Mix it up really thoroughly. I don't know what the run time on this is. Dry time 1 to 2 hours, 77 degrees, or bake time 20 minutes at 140. Recoating top coat without sanding between 1 and 24 hours. Cleanup technical data sheet. Pot life is 2 hours. So I have 2 hours to use this, I think. All right guys, so we are finally done with the high build primer. We did 3 coats on all of the repaired panels, the hood, the fender, lower door, passenger door, and obviously the rear quarter panel. But I didn't use the rest of the primer to kind of prime over the previous repair job, and there was a lot of filler that was exposed after sanding, so I just wanted to layer it up on there to level it out and just cover pretty much up the bodywork so it doesn't sink through the paint when we paint base coat, clear coat. It's looking freaking awesome. I'm looking at a lot of the pits that was here. It's definitely filled in with the primer, and tomorrow, I'm not gonna do it tonight, but tomorrow I'll guide coat it and then I'll block it out to see if we need to do further repair. And if it doesn't seem like we have to do further repair, we'll prep the rest of the car, and I don't know, maybe we'll get into the paint stuff hopefully in the next couple of days. Got one of the propane tank from the backyard grill to use the heater on it to help cure the prime job before I close up for the night. I didn't want to leave it overnight to rely on the cold weather, 45-50 degrees, to dry it overnight and have a possible chance of not actually being cured tomorrow morning. So this right here helps speed it up. I've already done that side and the passenger side. Right now I'm just letting the hood cure up a little bit. I can still see it's a little damped compared to this side, so give it a few more minutes and then I'll close the garage. But it is going to be the end of the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the progress update of the HF CRX, and if you guys did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. A lot more is going to follow now after the bodywork is done, and if you guys want to stick around and see what we do next, be sure to hit the subscribe button. I'm not sure, I might have a car coming in the next day or so, but we'll see what happens. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.